When you step outside the stadium in Kansas City on a summer evening, it hits you like a physical wall.
Oh, absolutely. It's incredibly muggy out there.
Right. The air is just thick, the humidity is heavy, and you're sweating before you've even walked like 10 feet toward the gates.
Yeah, it's the kind of sweltering heat that makes just standing still feel like a cardiovascular workout.
Exactly. Not exactly the kind of environment that fosters, relentless, high-pressing football for 90 uninterrupted minutes.
No, definitely not. In those conditions, you usually see teams slow the game down to a crawl just to survive the elements.
But then you step inside the Kansas City Stadium for this opening match of Group J, and you enter a completely different universe.
Because they have the massive domed roof closed.
Right, the dome is closed, the industrial air conditioning is just blasting, and suddenly you are standing inside this perfectly engineered, climate-controlled laboratory.
It's the ideal, completely frictionless environment for high-paced football.
Okay, let's unpack this, because inside that laboratory, we just witnessed a collision of, cutting-edge technology, 12-year underdogs, and arguably the greatest player of all time, orchestrating an absolute masterclass.
It was a massive game.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're extracting the tactical secrets and the behind-the-scenes math from Argentina's commanding 3-0 opening victory over Algeria.
A really fascinating matchup.
And just so you know, we are pulling all our insights directly from a TSN broadcast transcript of the match highlights.
Which is great because this was the first of 4 group stage games taking place in Kansas City and the first of 6 matches total at this stadium.
Right.
And you have the reigning world champions in Argentina squaring off against an Algerian side making their first appearance on the World Cup stage in 12 long years.
12 years.
Yeah.
But to understand the sheer history we witnessed by the time the final whistle blew, we actually have to rewind to the absolute chaos of the first 10 minutes.
Man, the margins in those first 10 minutes.
Right? It was an emotional roller coaster defined by margins so small, the human eye literally cannot even process them. So right out of the gate, Lionel Messi finds a pocket of space, strikes, and puts the ball in the back of the net.
It's a dreamlike start.
Exactly. The stadium erupts, the Argentinian bench is on their feet, and then the flag goes up.
Yeah.
Semi-automated offside technology just wipes the goal entirely off the board.
And, the mechanism behind that decision is something we kind of take for granted now, but it fundamentally alters the psychology of the game.
How so?
Well, we're not talking about a referee making a judgment call from 40 yards away anymore.
Right.
There are these specialized cameras mounted under the stadium roof, tracking 29 distinct data points on every single player's body.
Wait, 29 points on every player?
On every player, and they're plotting those points 50 times a second, creating this real-time, three-dimensional skeleton of the attackers and defenders. So the margin between a historic opening goal and an offside violation in this match was measured in microscopic millimeters.
And the whiplash didn't stop there, because moments later, Algeria gets to experience the exact same cruel reversal of fortune.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Right. First, Xavi finds himself with a golden opportunity on the counter. He has even more space than Messi did to hold his run. He takes that crucial half second to look across the defensive line, composes himself, slots the ball away, and the Algerian fans just lose their minds.
They think they've just taken a 1-0 lead over the reigning champions.
Exactly. But then the automated system intervenes again, wiped out by the exact same invisible digital margins.
And think about the psychological toll that takes, specifically on a team like Algeria.
I can't even imagine.
I mean, you haven't been to a World Cup in over a decade. You're walking onto the pitch as massive underdogs against a legendary squad.
Yeah.
The adrenaline spikes, the emotion completely takes over. You do the massive celebration by the corner flag, and then
you're forced to swallow that adrenaline and entirely reset your mental state.
Exactly.
It's basically the academic equivalent of taking the hardest final exam of your life, walking out feeling exhausted, getting an email from the professor saying you scored an A+, celebrating with your family.
Oh, I see where this is going.
And then getting a follow-up email 5 minutes later saying, sorry, system error, we graded the wrong paper.
That is exactly what it feels like.
How does a team even recover from that? Does seeing your sporting life flash before your eyes in the first 10 minutes sharpen a team's focus? Or does it make them play with this underlying fear of making a mistake?
Well, for a veteran squad like Argentina, it barely registers as a blip.
Right, they've seen it all.
Yeah, they have navigated virtually every high-stakes scenario world football has to offer. They process the disallowed goal and immediately revert to their tactical baseline.
Just business as usual.
But for a less experienced Algerian side operating at, maximum emotional capacity, it's a massive cognitive drain. It forces recalibration.
And the problem for Algeria was that while they were trying to mentally recalibrate, Argentina wasn't just waiting around.
No, they were actively hammering away at a glaring crack on the left flank.
Let's talk about Lionel Messi. He is a genuinely electric player. Plays his club football for Wolverhampton and Manchester City.
Great player.
Now, he has been somewhat limited recently, playing just 28 games across all competitions due to an ankle injury and frequent international duty pulling him away. But when he is on the pitch, he is dynamic.
He really is.
He's one of those rare defenders who is just as dangerous with the ball at his feet in the opponent's third as he is defending his own box.
Yeah, he provides this incredible engine for the Algerian attack. He loves to push high up the pitch, commit opposing defenders, and whip in these wicked deliveries with his left foot.
Right.
But pushing high up the pitch comes with an unavoidable cost. If you commit your left back to the offensive third, you leave.
A massive vacuum of space behind him. You can't be in two places at once. It's just basic physics.
Precisely. And Argentina understood that Nuri, for all his attacking brilliance, is really susceptible during transitions.
When an attacking sequence breaks down and Algeria loses the ball.
Right, there is a gaping hole on that left side before he can physically recover his defensive positioning. So Argentina's philosophy in the first half was clear and ruthless.
They just targeted that side.
Completely. They intentionally narrowed the Algerian defense, drawing their midfielders inside to create this structural bottleneck. And the moment they won the ball back, they instantly bypassed the midfield, playing rapid transition passes into that void on the left.
They just isolated that single point of failure and turned it into a highway.
That's exactly what it was.
And that relentless exploitation of space was driven by one man making absolute history on the pitch. That early frustration of the disallowed goal didn't seem to demoralize Argentina's talisman at all.
No, it just provided the runway for a record-breaking performance.
The milestones achieved in this single match are, frankly, difficult to comprehend. We're talking, of course, about Lionel Messi. Let's just rattle off the sheer volume of history he packed into 90 minutes.
Go for it.
He steps onto the pitch, earning his 200th cap for his country. It's his 6th World Cup tournament.
Unbelievable.
He officially passes Diego Maradona for the most World Cup assists since 1962, bringing his total to 8. And he caps it all off by scoring his first ever World Cup hat-trick.
Which is crazy to think about.
And that simultaneously ties him with Germany's Miroslav Klose for the most goals ever scored in the history of the tournament.
I mean, the statistics are monumental, but the underlying mechanics of how he is still achieving this at his age is what truly deserves attention.
Honestly, I have to admit some confusion here, because as a spectator, I don't really get it.
What do you mean?
How does a 38-year-old player who notoriously spends large portions of the game literally walking around the center circle consistently end up with the ball at his feet in the single most dangerous spot in the penalty box?
It does seem like magic.
Every defender on the pitch knows exactly what he wants to do. Every manager has game plan for him. Why can't they stop a guy who isn't even sprinting half the time?
Because he isn't outrunning people. He is out processing them.
Out processing.
Yeah. Think of his movement like a predator hunting entirely in blind spots. While the defenders are frantically tracking the ball, adjusting their hips, reacting to the immediate threat, Messi is constantly recalculating the shifting geometry of the pitch.
He's doing math while everyone else is running.
Basically, yeah. He identifies the exact patch of grass a defender is about to vacate, and he casually strolls into that space right as the defensive structure shifts. By the time the ball arrives, he's completely unmarked.
Wow.
He processes the game like 2 frames ahead of the defense.
That perfectly describes his first goal. Yeah. It wasn't a 40-yard sprint past a fullback. It was a vintage turn, right in a tight pocket of space.
Exactly.
He just finds the angle, drops his shoulder, freezes the center back, and finishes it.
Yeah.
And then the second goal comes off a deflected shot following up an effort from McAllister.
He's just in the right place at the right time because of that spatial awareness.
And the third goal, I love this. The broadcast described it beautifully as a pass into the net.
That phrase captures the biomechanics of his current style perfectly.
Passing to the net.
Right, because he possesses the raw power to drive the ball, but he chooses precision. He strokes the ball home with the inside of his foot, relying on leverage and technique rather than brute force.
But the reality of playing that cerebral walking style is that someone else has to absorb the physical toll of the midfield battle.
Oh, definitely.
Here's where it gets really interesting. You can't talk about Messi's performance without talking about the guy doing the relentless running for him, Rodrigo de Paul.
The ultimate midfield engine. And, as the broadcast joked, his personal bodyguard.
I love this detail. There's a running joke in the broadcast that you literally never see Messi without Rodrigo de Paul, whether they're on the pitch, at training, or getting off the team bus.
They're inseparable.
De Paul provided a brilliant assist to Messi for that first goal, doing the heavy lifting to create the chance. But the quote from De Paul is what really stuck with me.
What did he say?
When asked about his role, he openly stated, "I'm doing it because I love him." Think about your own workplace for a second. De Paul is the ultimate unglamorous spreadsheet guy.
The guy doing all the behind-the-scenes work.
Right. He is the team member staying until midnight, grinding through the tedious background work, compiling the data, all so the star presenter can walk into the boardroom at 9 a.m., deliver the pitch, and get the standing ovation.
It is a vital dynamic. Tactically, it is non-negotiable.
Really?
Oh, yeah. At 38 years old, Messi physically cannot press the opposition back line or track back defensively the way he did a decade ago. If he tries, his legs will be gone by the 60th minute.
Makes sense.
So De Paul's relentless energy, squaring the ball at the halfway line, making crucial interceptions, disrupting Algerian counterattacks, that's the foundational layer. It allows Messi to preserve his physical reserves strictly for those explosive surgical moments in the final third.
And it's a partnership built on a deep MLS connection now, too, which the broadcast highlighted. It's a match made in MLS heaven, with 2 of the 45 players representing the domestic league in this World Cup featuring here.
Alongside 4 more from the USL Championship, actually.
Yeah. You even had NFL superstar Patrick Mahomes in the stadium jumping out of his seat for a Messi effort from distance.
That was a great moment.
When you have the face of American football leaping up to applaud a soccer player, the star power is absolutely undeniable.
It really is. The execution from Argentina was flawless, but we're only analyzing half the equation here.
Right.
The dominant three-low route was heavily facilitated by a deeply perplexing set of circumstances and decisions unfolding on the Algerian side of the pitch.
Puzzling doesn't even begin to cover it. Let's look at the Algerian goalkeeper situation, because the human element here is just wild.
That's a tough situation.
Algeria's starting keeper against the reigning world champions was Zidane. He is a French youth international who qualifies to play for Algeria through his famous father's parents.
Right.
He was called up for AFCON back in September, and his manager explicitly defended the choice, stating, "If I called him up, it's because he deserves it, not because of his last name."
But stepping onto the pitch for this specific match, he possessed a glaring lack of top-flight international experience. He had only 10 caps to his name prior to this game.
10 caps. And he was playing with a broken jaw.
A broken jaw against the most lethal finishing side in the tournament.
I mean, how does that even happen?
Well, he was forced into the starting 11 because the usual starting keeper, Anthony Mandrea, suffered a dislocated shoulder back in April and was entirely ruled out of the World Cup, thrusting a deeply inexperienced keeper managing a painful facial injury into a match against Lionel Messi is an incredibly precarious foundation for any defense.
Yeah, goalkeeper injuries are terrible luck, but they are ultimately out of a manager's control. What a manager can control is the outfield lineup.
And this is where the Algerian strategy gets incredibly baffling.
Exactly. They left Mohamed Amora sitting on the bench until a late triple substitution. Amora scored 10 goals in his last 6 World Cup qualifying games.
He was on fire.
He had 14 goal contributions in total, the absolute most of any player in the entire African qualifying bracket. Why on earth do you bench your sharpest, most lethal weapon?
It's a huge question.
Not to mention keeping Riyad Mahrez, who's making his first World Cup appearance since 2014, and Houssam Aouar on the bench until the game was essentially out of reach.
Right. So to understand that decision, you have to look past the emotion of the opening match and examine the cold mathematical reality of the expanded 2026 tournament format.
The spreadsheet math.
Exactly. This World Cup has 32 teams reaching the knockout stage. The managers are hyper aware of how the qualification math works.
Because it's different now.
Very different. In this expanded bracket, finishing third in your group can often be enough to advance if your goal differential holds up.
Okay.
So if you're the Algerian manager, you're looking at your upcoming schedule, which features matches against Austria and Jordan in Dallas.
Right. Matches that are statistically far more winnable than a clash with a pot one juggernaut like Argentina.
Correct. The manager is faced with a calculated risk assessment. Do you put your absolute best starting 11 on the pitch against Argentina?
It's tempting.
It is, but if you do, you risk exhausting your stars, exposing them to potential injury, and running the very real risk of getting dismantled 3-0 anyway.
Yeah.
Or do you run the calculus that securing points against Austria and Jordan is your actual path to the knockout stage? You intentionally conserve the physical output of players like Amora, Mahrez, and Aouar,
Just resting them.
essentially treating the Argentina match as a write-off to protect your goal differential and your legs for the matches that actually dictate your survival.
I understand the spreadsheet math behind that. I really do.
Yeah.
But I have to fiercely push back on the human cost of that strategy.
Fair point.
Football is not played by algorithms. It is played
Yeah.
by human beings, heavily influenced by momentum and confidence.
Very true.
If you are Mohamed Amora, you just scored 10 goals to literally drag your country back to the World Cup after a 12-year drought. You are in the form of your life,
Yeah.
and your reward on the biggest stage is to sit under a heavy jacket on the bench and watch your teammates get methodically picked apart. That fundamentally destroys a player's morale.
It's definitely a buzzkill.
And the TSN broadcast picked up on this exact vibe, noting that Algeria seemed to lack any real attacking impetus in the second half. They were just waiting around to see if minor tactical tweaks would magically work before the manager finally relented and turned to the personnel changes.
Right.
It feels like a massive miscalculation of human emotion. Bringing on Mahrez, Aouar, and Amora in a late triple change when you are already chasing the game is a classic case of too little too late.
The broadcast did note that Aouar dropping deeper to provide a link and play forward with quality for Mahrez and Amora is a great idea in theory.
Sure, in theory.
But as they pointed out, you actually have to win the ball first to execute it.
Exactly.
But this manager's dilemma, balancing spreadsheet logic against human morale, it points to a massive structural shift in how the World Cup operates today.
The sheer sprawling scale of this 2026 World Cup is fundamentally changing the tactical nature of the sport itself. But before we project forward, the broadcast highlighted an incredible piece of historical symmetry that ties all of this together.
Oh, the parallel to the 1994 tournament.
Yes, the last time the World Cup was hosted on United States soil was back in 1994. In that tournament, Argentina's opening match was against Greece. They came out, utterly dominated the game, and won 4-0.
Classic performance.
And the most striking detail, that victory was fueled by an Argentine hat-trick.
Wow.
Fast forward to today, back in the U.S., another opening match dominance, a 3-0 victory over Algeria, and another historic hat-trick. Time really is a flat circle.
It is a brilliant piece of sporting poetry, but while the history rhymes, the physical demands required to win the tournament have evolved into something entirely unprecedented.
Right.
This ties directly back to our debate over Algeria conserving their players. If you are a team with legitimate aspirations of lifting the trophy, you are looking down the barrel of a grueling 7-game schedule.
7 games against the best teams in the world.
Exactly. This is no longer just a tactical battle on the pitch. Managing a squad through an expanded World Cup is like managing a multi-stage rocket. You cannot burn all your fuel in the lower atmosphere.
I like that.
You have to know exactly which thrusters to fire and which stages to drop just to make it into orbit.
That is the perfect way to frame it. Think about the most massive, high-stakes, month-long project you have ever been assigned at your job.
Oh man, yeah.
You know from the kickoff meeting that you cannot sprint at maximum capacity the entire time. If you go 100% in the first week, pulling all-nighters to perfect every detail, you will completely burn out 2 weeks before the final deadline.
You'll just crash.
Exactly. You have to manage your energy reserves. You have to identify when to push for the big visible wins, the hat tricks, and when to quietly delegate, conserve your mental energy, and just survive until the next phase of the project.
That is the exact discipline these managers are trying to instill. It's no longer just about fielding your 11 most talented players. It requires rigorous sports science.
The spreadsheets again.
Yeah, it requires calculated squad rotation. It requires managing the emotional spikes, like we saw with the VAR offside whiplash in the first 10 minutes.
Right.
Notice that Argentina now gets a full 6-day break before their next group game.
6 days.
Managing the recovery protocols, the muscle fatigue, and the psychological stress over those 6 days in the hotel is just as vital as any pass completed on the field.
So true.
The teams that go deep into this expanded format will not necessarily be the ones who play the prettiest football. They will be the ones who manage their biological fatigue the most efficiently.
Which perfectly wraps up the complex web of narratives we unpacked today. We explored how the microscopic precision of modern semi-automated offside technology can inflict a devastating psychological toll on an underdog, while a veteran team simply brushes it off.
Yep.
We witnessed absolute history with Lionel Messi cementing his legacy, earning 200 caps, breaking the all-time assist record, and utilizing predatory spatial awareness to stroke home a record-tying hat-trick.
Incredible stuff.
All while his ultimate workplace wingman, Rodrigo de Paul, absorbed the physical toll in the midfield. And we debated the cold calculus of tournament squad management, questioning the logic of starting an inexperienced keeper with a broken jaw while leaving your top goal scorer sitting on the bench to protect a spreadsheet goal differential.
It was a single match that offered a perfect microcosm of where international football stands right now. A beautiful collision of historical individual greatness and the sterile, data-driven realities of modern tournament strategy.
But the math leaves us with a provocative, slightly unsettling thought. One that I want you to mull over as you watch the group stages unfold over the next few weeks.
Let's hear it.
As sports science continues to refine recovery times, as data analytics highlight the exact mathematical path to the knockout rounds, and as these tournaments expand into larger, more physically grueling endurance tests, are we going to see a future where managers openly and strategically sacrifice their matches against the top-tier seeds?
It's a real possibility.
And if the algorithms dictate that it is definitively smarter to wave the white flag against the giants to save your players' legs for the smaller teams, does that cold logic completely strip away the magical spirit of underdog competition that makes the World Cup so captivating in the first place?
It is a fascinating, almost existential dilemma for the sport, and it is a choice every underdog manager is going to have to face in this new era.
Something to keep a very close eye on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the tactical decisions, keep looking beyond the immediate scoreline, and we will catch you next time.